So these churches and these white churches and these institutions and colleges and universities sitting on multi-millions of dollars, and then we'll look down at the black church and be like, y'all shouldn't be asking y'all people for money like that, or y'all shouldn't be, whatever the case may be, not considering history or the wealth gap in America. For every $10,000 that white people are giving to these white churches, it's $1,000 in a black church.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we don't, you know what I mean? So like I said, these institutions and majority culture churches get to be high and mighty sitting on multi-million-dollar situations.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we don't ask our people for money or anything. You don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to. You got multi-millions in the bank, first and foremost. And number two, your people, your congregation naturally has more money to tithe off of and present an offering. You don't have to.
Yeah.
I think I'm missing the connection that you're trying to make here, because I feel like in my experience, I've been on both sides, and I think you're talking about in a generality sense. But churches, and I don't know the percentage or whatnot, but churches typically have a lot of money. And it's not, and when I say a lot of money, I know a lot of money is relative if we're talking, size of church, talking where your church is planted at and different things like that. But the two churches that I've been at, so you got Calvary that I've been at, now I'm at Hill City. And these are both big churches. And Calvary is not necessarily in the best part of Norfolk. Norfolk's like, what's the face? It's a city in the 757. And it's right there in the middle of a mall that closed down in what some would call the hood over there in Poplar Hall. And, it's not necessarily a great area. But they have influx from everybody that comes around the city. But I don't think it's necessarily that they have a bunch of rich people that go to the church. But I think it's the amount, it's the quantity of people that go to the church. And like when I was there, like our pastor didn't even teach about tithing. Like he probably taught about tithing once every 5 years.
Your pastor didn't have to teach about tithing, because at one point, I believe Emmitt Smith and Martin Lawrence were both tithing at Calvary at one point.
But that does, but he wouldn't preach about tithing just if they didn't go there, or if they didn't.
But it's different when you're on a certain perch. And so I
disagree. I don't think so. So let me finish my argument.
Up in the time.
Let me finish my argument. So now I'm at Hill City, right? And I was very shocked. This is the first time I saw it. When I first got to Hill City, they don't even take offering. They don't even ask for it. They don't even have a pass the plate.
Majority cultural church. I agree. Yeah.
And it's a And it's a thing of, I've always said, depending on how you were exposed to Christianity or how you came into Christianity, that's usually how you live your Christianity out. You know what I'm saying? I think when it comes to giving, it's just second nature, because they're taught younger to give. Like, this is what you do. You give the things you love. So I don't think it's a wealth gap conversation. I think it's a conversation that's in the household, is that you give to things that you like. You give to things that you love. Because I was taught that to give, right? I was taught to come up like, yo, you're in church, you give your 10%. Here's your allowance, it's $10. You got to give $1 to church. And then my parents would teach me, because this is what we do. And then they gave me the whole example of, you go to a restaurant, you tip because you had good service. If you say you love Jesus, this is what we do as a family, because we love the Lord. So it wasn't a conversation of we're giving because like the church needs money or because whatever. But it was just that generosity was woven into the fabric of who we are as people. So I think that's what it more so is, from what I've seen in my experience at Hill City, where generosity is just who we are as people. It's taught in church. It's cool. I've been on both.
I'm letting black people are way more socially conscious than white people. I promise you that.
All right. You say
because they know what it's like to not have. So they're way more. I promise
you. Every black person is not broke.
We're coming into an age where that's the case. The wealth gap still exists, bro.
Tastemakers.
Classic. We do more than make a living, we make a life. When everything is dark, we are the light. We are the tastemakers, aight. Let tomorrow tell the stories that we make tonight. We do more than make a living, we make